Imagine this. Someone accuses you of something you didn't do. Maybe it's a tiny lie, maybe a colossal betrayal. The world expects you to defend yourself, to argue, to prove your innocence, to yell louder than the voices that try to drown you out. But what if I told you defending yourself is the fastest way to lose power, control, and dignity? That the very act of justifying, explaining, or pleading is the psychological equivalent of handing your opponent the weapon they never had before, a glimpse of your weakness. This is not speculation, this is Machiavelli, and this is the dark psychology of never defending yourself. Humans are strange creatures. We are obsessed with justice, with fairness, with the illusion that truth matters. But in reality, people don't respond to logic. They respond to perception, to emotion, to power. You could have all the evidence, all the facts, all the righteous anger in the world, and it wouldn't matter. Because the moment you defend yourself, the narrative shifts. Suddenly, it's not about the accusation anymore. It's about you scrambling, justifying, flailing, showing your hand, showing your vulnerability. And make no mistake, vulnerability is delicious to those waiting to pull strings, to those who thrive in the shadows of human interaction. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. Never defend yourself, he would whisper from beyond the pages of history, not because he was lazy, not because he lacked wit, but because he understood that silence, stillness, and refusal to engage are weapons sharper than the tongue or sword. When you stay quiet, when you don't react, when you let the world twist its story, something fascinating happens. The accuser reveals themselves. Their anger, their frustration, their need to convince you. It exposes their weakness. You're no longer on the defensive. The world is now performing for you. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how people double down when you refuse to fight back? How they twist, escalate, and expose themselves? There's something inherently satisfying about watching someone spin in circles, trying desperately to pull you into their chaos. By staying silent, by refusing to defend, you turn their power against them. It's psychological judo. The force they wield, the energy they pour into attacking you, becomes a mirror reflecting their own insecurities, their own desperation. And you? You remain untouchable, enigmatic, like a shadow in a room full of shouting fools. But here's the darkly delicious part. Society will mock you for it. Friends, colleagues, strangers, they'll whisper, "Why didn't you say anything? Don't you care?" And that's exactly the point. This trick isn't about comfort. It's not about validation. It's about control. About the subtle, insidious art of bending perception without lifting a finger. People who demand an explanation are already trapped in their own minds, caught in the web of their assumptions. You simply refuse to feed them. You refuse to participate in their delusion, and in doing so, you flip the script entirely. Now, let's be honest. Silence is not easy. The instinct to defend, to scream, to cry, to justify, it's wired into us. Evolution didn't teach humans to ignore slander or to withhold rebuttals. It taught us to protect, to react, to assert dominance through action and words. But Machiavelli, the master manipulator of human behavior, knew that true power doesn't scream. True power observes, calculates, and lets others bleed themselves dry on the battlefield of their own making. It's elegant. It's terrifying. And yes, it's profoundly lonely, because most people cannot understand this level of restraint. Let's take a moment to explore why defending yourself is dangerous. When you argue, you make your enemy the narrator of your story. Every word you utter is ammunition. Every fact you present can be twisted. Every defensive gesture, the trembling hand, the nervous glance, the raised voice, becomes evidence. You are playing a game on someone else's terms. And the cruel irony? They don't even have to be right. All they need is to cast doubt, and by responding, you hand them exactly what they need, the appearance of conflict, the illusion that something is wrong. And here's the Machiavellian twist. When you refuse to defend yourself, the mind does something remarkable. Humans hate ambiguity. We crave explanations, resolutions, certainty. When you refuse to give them that, when you sit in silent defiance, the accuser begins to question. They overthink. They create narratives where you're somehow stronger, smarter, or more untouchable than they imagined. Your silence becomes a cloak of power, wrapping you in mystery, compelling attention, forcing respect. People begin to wonder, what does this mean? Why won't they fight? And in that moment of uncertainty, the power dynamic flips. You are no longer reacting. You are orchestrating. There's a cruel poetry in this. Power is never about fairness. It's about perception. It's about the subtle, invisible threads that manipulate how others see you. By never defending yourself, you position yourself above petty arguments, above the clamor of accusations. You become untouchable, not because people cannot reach you, but because they cannot predict you. And the unknown, in the dark corners of human psychology, is far more terrifying and far more respected than any loud protest. But let's sprinkle in a touch of sarcasm, because what's power without a little irony? Imagine the next time someone spreads a rumor, accuses you of betrayal, or humiliates you publicly. Your friends might gasp, your enemies might snicker, and there you are, not a single word, not a single plea, just a calm, almost bored stare into the chaos they've created. Oh, the horror for them. They expected a reaction, a fight, an emotional collapse, and instead, they got you, a ghost in their storm. Deliciously maddening, isn't it? And here's the final, bitter truth that Machiavelli would chuckle at. Defending yourself doesn't just risk losing control, it exposes your soul. Your reactions, your justifications, your anger, your desperation, they reveal who you are to the very people you wish to impress or intimidate. Silence, on the other hand, is a mask, and a far more powerful one. It is not cowardice, it is strategy. It is the quiet, dark chess of human interaction, where every move is calculated and every pause is a trap. So the next time someone tries to corner you, to twist the story, to provoke a reaction, resist. Resist with everything you have. Watch, observe, and let the accuser unravel themselves. Let them sweat, let them stumble, let them expose the fragility they so desperately try to hide. And in the midst of their chaos, smile inwardly. Because you are no longer defending. You are dominating, invisibly, indelibly, unassailably. Power is not given to the loud, the frantic, the desperate. Power resides with the one who can sit in silence, immune to the bait, untouchable by the claws of accusation, and unknowable to the eyes that hunger for control. That, my friend, is the dark psychology of never defending yourself, the silent Machiavellian trick that flips the world upside down while everyone else is busy shouting.